Good morning, everybody. My name is miahtheking, and today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam earlier called Dragonforge. Developed by Legend Studio and published by Legend Studio, this game advertises itself as a automated factory simulator type of game, only you actually play as a dragon managing all of this. Okay, interesting enough, I suppose. Don't see a lot of those out there. So I was a bit curious and decided to take a look. I did very little research on this game before jumping in because I just wanted that kind of experience. And, well, that's what I get for going in unprepared. On the Steam store page, it does not say it's early access, at least not at the moment, even though it 100% feels like it's an early access game, and it's charging $20, at least here in the US. Okay, so let's just make this pretty simple. You're a dragon. The first and last of your kind, which makes absolutely no sense in the context of this universe. I mean, you're summoned by a dragon spirit, who is the spirit of some dragon who lived forever ago, but they were wiped out in some kind of war or something with demons. That means that you're not the first. I don't think they understood what that meant when they wrote it. And being the last, well, okay, fine, but why did these dragons only summon the one and only a baby dragon at that to try and save the world? Like, you gotta summon someone back to cleanse the evil, fine, but why one dragon, and why did you summon it as a baby? That's like setting yourself up to fail. Anyway, you are summoned as an egg, where you get to customize your dragon. Pretty good start so far. You get a bit of story about how this mist is covering the world, and you need to remove it to bring back peace, and eventually, hopefully, bring back other dragons. A decent enough story. Okay, still following along. Now, here's a goblin slave who will teach you and guide you, but be careful, they shifty and can lead you astray. Okay, so then why are you leaving me in the hands of one to save our race if they can't be trusted? But whatever, I've heard of goblins serving dragons before, so sure, we'll just go with it. This goblin tells you that he's basically going to give you a tutorial and then to come find him after he's done telling you how to move using WASD. So, okay, you told me how to move, now go find you, got it. But then he goes and hides, or at least he did for me. Turns out trees and rocks can just spawn at any old witch a place, and a tree and a large rock spawned on his new location, thus hiding him from me. So my tutorial was literally hidden from me by its very own game mechanics. Fun times. So I just traveled around, building random stuff, blowing stuff up with my fireballs until eventually I found him. I learned a bit about the game, but not nearly enough, and I'm off to actually play. Wow, that was an ordeal. So basically, you just collect resources, build factory-esque type things, you know, altars, laboratories, other stuff like that. You collect food items like strawberries, you can give them to a goblin guy of no real importance, who then gives you more goblin slaves to automatically transport goods for you. So in your labs that you build, you automatically generate crystals. The goblin slaves will then carry them to be sacrificed at altars that you also had to build, and sacrificing those crystals will give you magic. Magic, which is then used to upgrade the amount, quality, or speed of which you harvest crystals or unlock new areas for you to explore and build, and... Wait a minute. This is sounding suspiciously like a mobile app. Let me see. Researching. Okay, so I haven't found any version of microtransactions. Well, at least yet. So, there's that at least. But, yeah, this is basically a mobile app style of game. You build buildings, which, by the way, cannot be rotated or placed accurately because when you go to build them, the little green outline of it is always on the top left of the screen. Can't move it, can't rotate it, can't adjust it. Once you place a building, you can't redirect them, reposition them, or demolish them in any way. So once you place them, they're stuck. And considering the difficult landscape with various cliffs, waters, and small patches of land surrounded by water, it's really hard to find a flat space to put these things, especially since you can't rotate or move where you want to, how you want to place it. You need a whole buttload of magic to unlock new areas, and the game even says that it'll continue generating resources for you even if you exit the game. Sounds like a mobile app to me, and that's pretty much the whole game. I mean, seriously, it has a little bit of a combat system and an equipment system, but they don't feel very intuitive or useful. The combat is a bit janky and not really fun. It's also rare. I think I ran into 3 skeletons and 1 challenge the whole time, all easy and kind of annoying. And when I say challenge, I mean I was just randomly exploring and gathering resources, and then suddenly they're just like, hey, here's a challenge, kill these guys in this amount of time, with no other clue or hint to let me know that was even there. Which, by the way, later on, I ended up running into one of those that was like super high level and difficult. Once again, no warning or anything, got me trapped there, couldn't leave, died. So, that's always fun. There's very little sound effects when you start playing the game. Whenever the music does happen to come on, it's nice, I suppose, but it's not like outstanding. The sound effects are basic and generic, the graphics aren't the best either. They're probably a bit below average, I think. And I reached a point where I needed stones to progress, but I had already harvested all the stones. And for some reason, unlike trees and coal and strawberry bushes, they take forever to respawn. And so I ended up having to quit the game simply because otherwise I would have been sitting there for God only knows how long before more stones decided to pop up. And since I need millions of magic to unlock new areas, now gaining at the point in time of me doing this, I was only gaining a couple thousand a second. I'd still be waiting for quite a while for anything to happen. By the way, before I continue, there's another mechanic where you can shoot fireballs, right? And that's kind of like the easiest way to gather resources. But to shoot fireballs, it's like almost like a clip, like in a gun. So you've got like 10 shots of fireballs before you need to reload. And by reload, I mean you need to eat charcoal, which I don't know. I mean, I guess for a dragon game, I guess it kind of makes sense, but it just felt a little bit wrong to me. And the flight mechanic as well, while really cool, and it allows you to get around quickly, it's a little bugged. When you try to land, your guy just does a nosedive into the ground, and he just kind of looks like he's diving into the ground repeatedly. He never actually lands until he runs out of stamina. And then when he runs out of stamina, he's really freaking slow until he gets it back. So that was really frustrating to deal with. So basically, at several points in the game, it just became a sit and wait kind of thing. It's slow, it's empty, it's lacking in a lot of fundamental design choices. And for an example, it lacks ambient sound effects of any kind. No wind, no footsteps, no sounds in the distance, and only half the reactionary sound effects that you'd expect to find in a game like this. I played for an hour and was bored out of my mind, and that was before I ran out of things to do. I don't mean to be mean, as I'm sure the developer put a lot of hard work into this, but it's just not that good. This is a below average game. Is it cool to create and play as a dragon? Of course, that's always cool. Is it cool to play a management game in a fantasy world? Of course, that's always cool too. However, in a mobile app style of game like this, you'll find yourself bored and waiting around for long periods of time doing nothing, and it's asking for $20 for that. So, let's look at this a bit more simply. It's slow, it's a little bit boring. It does have an interesting concept, but in my opinion was implemented very poorly. It's lacking in a lot of areas, such as sound design, graphical design, stability, replayability, and interactivity. It has a very poor tutorial, very poor guiding system, and its gameplay loop is something you'd see from the tainted mobile apps. I don't feel like this game is worth it at all. I honestly don't know if this game is early access or not, because it doesn't say so on the Steam store page, but it feels like it is all around. Honestly, I'd recommend either skipping this one entirely or coming back in a year to check it out and see if it's made any progress or made any updates or anything to just make it better. I just wasn't having any fun for $20. It's like that other game I reviewed a long time ago. I don't remember the name of it because it wasn't that good, but it was one that focused entirely on time, and you lived in like a underground cavern as this one little guy, and you couldn't really control him. Anyway, it focused entirely on time, and you would log in, you would do one thing, and then you'd have to wait like a month of real world time to come back and then do another thing, rinse and repeat. And I don't want that. Most people don't want that, especially if they have to spend money on it. I mean, if it's a mobile game, then fine, I can kind of understand it. Those have been tainted forever ago, and, I only play mobile games when I'm on the toilet, so fine. Let time skip when I'm not playing it, but you want me to pay $20 to play for an hour and then return in a day or two where I can then play for another hour just so I can wait again? I mean, I don't understand the appeal. I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there that like the idea of that, but I don't understand it. If I spent $20 on a game, I want to be able to play the freaking game. Overall, I feel like this game was just badly designed. I wish the developers well, and you know what? I mean, if you like the game, then more power to you. I hope you continue to enjoy it. But if you were expecting to play this game and have a lot of fun as a dragon managing a city or a civilization or something, then you're going to be highly disappointed because that's not what this is. What you're watching me do right now, this is it. This is the gameplay. If this isn't what you're looking for, and if this doesn't look fun to you, then don't get it. That's my recommendation. That's my personal opinion. I don't think this game is worth your time. I don't think it's worth your money. So that's all the time I got for this episode, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, or at least found it informative. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.